The Romanian deadlift, or RDL, is a great exercise to hit your hamstrings, glutes, and entire posterior chain, aka the muscles in the back of your body. And so you don't have to freak out the moment you start feeling it in your lower back because you're working it and you're stabilizing, but it shouldn't feel like you're mainly using your lower back. So let's go over how you can properly do a dumbbell RDL and a barbell RDL. Also, spoiler alert, you shouldn't be taking your barbell RDLs down to the floor, and we'll go over why that's a big mistake later in this video. All right, let's start with dumbbell RDLs, and there are 3 areas I want you to focus on as you're doing them, and that's gonna be your feet, hips, and chest. All right, so place your feet just about hip width, either straight forward or with a slight angle out, and you have to find what feels most comfortable for you. You wanna grip the floor to help you activate your glutes through the movement. I want you to imagine if you had a paper towel between your feet, you were thinking about ripping them apart. Now let's talk about your hips. This is a hinge pattern, meaning we aren't just going straight up and down, we're actually pushing our butt back. Use your glutes and press. We are pushing our hips back. Imagine having a wall right in front of your knees, preventing them from coming forward. This will actually allow the weight to be cleared to go straight down the line of your midfoot, which is exactly what we want. And a cue to think about is if you had a bag of groceries and you had to close your car door, you would use your butt. That is what we're doing instead of this. This is gonna be more of a squat pattern. And as you can see, your knees will get in the way of the weight. If you're having a hard time with this, you can use some external cueing like having a wall or a rack behind you and just focusing on pushing your hips back until your butt hits the wall so that you can learn this movement pattern. For your chest, I want you to think of keeping it up as you go through the movement, kind of like a superhero pose. Or if I was in front of you, I would still be able to see the design on the front of your shirt. Let's put it all together. Think about a superhero pose with your chest up. This will help you stay in a good position all the way through the movement. We want the dumbbells not in front of us, not directly to the side, but instead at about a 45-degree angle, and you want to think of riding your legs down. Remember, keep the weight over the midfoot. The farther you go in front of you, the more you'll work your lower back. If you're running into the issue of having your knees in the way, that means you aren't pushing your hips back enough and you need to work on the movement pattern a little bit more. So how far down do you go? Well, that depends on your mobility and anatomy, like arm length. But for most, a general recommendation is to shoot for around your knees, either at your knees or a little bit below it. We just want to make sure to be in a good position and feel a big stretch in your hamstring and glutes. Go as low as you can while maintaining that anterior pelvic tilt. Once you feel your lower back taking over, you've gone too far. For a more glute-focused RDL, you want to have a slight bend in your knees compared to a straighter leg deadlift, which will focus more on the hamstrings. Take a slight pause at the bottom to really feel a good stretch and think about pushing through your glutes, not just pulling up. This will ensure that your glutes are the main drivers for this instead of your lower back. And at the top, we want to have a nice posture. No need to overextend like this and put unnecessary load on your lower back. All right, let's go over the barbell RDL. It's pretty much the same thing, except the barbell will be in front of you. For the setup, we want to set the bar at a height a little bit above the knees so you can easily unrack it. Grip is just outside of shoulder width or outside of your thighs. Take 3 steps out and set yourself up. Feet is going to be about hip width apart. Bar over the midfoot. Grip the floor. Send your hips back as you let the bar ride your thighs. Keep your chest up. Feel a nice stretch at the bottom. Push through your glutes and finish. A very common mistake I see is people lowering the weight all the way to the floor. All this is doing is using your lower back as it curves over and taking the tension off of the hamstrings and the glutes, which is not what we want. I hope this video was helpful. Make sure you save it or keep it open in your web browser so that you can always refer back to it when you need it on your next session.